Welcome to the Riva Experience Podcast. Real women, real shifts, real conversations. I'm your host, Rosemary Evangelista, and I believe that every woman has a purpose, even after the world around her has shifted. This podcast is a space for soulful conversations, powerful stories, and heartfelt moments that remind you it's never too late to rediscover who you are. Whether you're navigating a life transition, searching for clarity, or simply asking, now what? You're in the right place. Here we reflect, explore, visualize, align together. So let's begin. I'm truly honored to welcome a very special guest today, someone whose story is not only powerful, but deeply inspiring. Lesley, also known as the Light Warrior Goddess, carries a beautiful and bold energy that shines through everything she does. Her journey started in the most unexpected way, surviving birth control contraception and only being discovered in the womb at 4 months. From an early age, Lesley felt different. She knew in her heart she was here to teach love and acceptance for all beings. But as life unfolded, that calling came with profound challenges. She became the target of various forms of abuse, which ultimately led her down a powerful path of healing, growth, and spiritual awakening. About 16 years ago, everything changed. Life brought her to a place of complete stillness. No distractions, no noise, just her and her soul. In that space, she discovered who she truly was and what she was here to do. Lesley began building a spiritual toolbox, healing her traumas, and learning how to shine her light authentically so she could guide others to do the same. Today, she's a lighthouse for those who felt lost in the dark, a beacon of hope, love, and wisdom. The name Light Warrior Goddess was first spoken by someone she had never even met in person, and it stuck because it captured her essence so beautifully. She's risen from the ashes like a phoenix, and now she stands ready to help others rise too. And I can't wait for you to hear our conversation. It's real, it's soulful, and I believe it will stay with you long after you've listened. So let's dive in and welcome Lesley Jones to the Riva Experience Podcast. Hi, Lesley.
Rosemary.
I know you're a little nervous, but I'm sure our conversation is going to be just amazing, and I'm so excited to share your information with the audience.
Well, thank you for inviting me into this sacred space, and this is the first time I've been seen and heard in a number of years, so Yep, I'm here. I'm showing up.
Yay! And I know that feeling because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's what I've done as well in launching this podcast. So I feel for you, and I'm sure there's many other women out there realizing that if they need to move forward, they need to step out of their comfort zone. And here we're showing them that it can be done. Yeah. So Lesley, who do you feel called to serve, and how do you help them?
I've always felt called to serve anybody and everyone because I don't know, I just, from as long back as I can remember, I've just loved everybody. I've just been so accepting of everyone, and I was expecting that to be like reflected back to me. And, I got rude awakening because it wasn't, so I'm here for anyone and everyone who feels, guided to connect with me.
Yeah. And there should be a what's the word I'm looking for? It needs to resonate, because as much as we want to help everyone, just some people I'm going to use the word, just don't get it, and they don't resonate with our energy. So
right.
This is an example for when you went into that time of space of being alone, where you needed to figure that part out, right? You had to step into your authentic self.
Right. Yeah. Because most of my life I had been seeking outside of myself to find out, how I could love people, or, and then when I came into myself, I realized that I hadn't been loving my own presence. So I really got to know myself first, and then it was easier to interact with others and be more discerning and not just wide open and here I am.
Yeah, some people
Take
aren't
what
ready
you
for
want.
that. Yeah. And that's a good point, because when we're searching for that, we need to start in ourselves, because if we don't start here inside and understanding who we are, then it's a little difficult to resonate or connect with somebody else to help them through their challenges, correct?
Well, absolutely. And then you're in that people pleasing stage, right?
Yeah.
And you'll literally do anything you can to, keep other people happy around you. And, you're depleting your own source of, being. So that's, it's a hard lesson to learn. But once you learn it, you become so solid in your own energy and presence and belief, especially when you're spending time in isolation for years.
Yeah. That isolation, I believe, began before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was around, I think it was 2012 that I just, I was working from home and I just basically, I mean, I still saw, my kids and a few friends or whatever, but I had less desire to be out there in the community around, people in general. I've always been shy anyway. So
I know that feeling.
yeah, it was just something was telling me to just come home to myself. And yeah, so when the isolation started with the pandemic, um it was just like everything quieted, like for the first time in as long as I can remember, the outside energy just hushed. And it was so peaceful for me because I couldn't, even being in my own like space, I couldn't stop the energy from the outside world kind of invading. But when everything just stopped, I could hear a pin drop for the first time in my inner world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, because you were going through so many different types of trauma, that the noise around wasn't allowing you to be in tune with yourself and what you needed,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. And the funny thing was, everyone like that knew me was calling me and saying, like, how the heck do you live like this? Right. So I became a resource for people, which was nice.
Yeah. So if this happened before COVID, how did COVID actually affect you then? Because I know it hit many, many people hard,
Yeah.
that
Um,
isolation.
yeah. So at the time, I had moved in with before COVID, I had moved in with my mom, who was 84 at the time, and I was 48. And she had just retired as a crossing guard. So, I had company in the house with me. And but then at the first lockdown in March 2020, she got hit with sudden onset dementia. So I literally was focused on, caring for her. Um, and it was just a real like eye-opening experience because I was so grateful. I had learned how to be so independent, so capable, so resourceful of finding, or use like relying on my intuition to guide me as well. Um, so I just kind of shut the whole world out as best as I could. The major way it affected me was I was hypervigilant and I became like severely germophobic because I was trying to protect my mom and I was trying to protect myself because I was the only caregiver for her. So it was really tough, but I'm a stronger person for it. And yeah, and I'm very grateful I had that honor of caring for my mother. As hard as it was, I'm so grateful I had that time with her.
Yeah, and that's important. And it's so true that what you said about being stronger for what you went through, but going through that, um, sometimes you just don't see the end of it, right? And you wonder, like, why am I going through all this? But if we can, knowing and sharing what we've gone through, like your experience there, and somebody else going through a challenge now, just not to think of how difficult this is, because this too shall pass, and there's a reason for you going through this. So both of us, the challenges that we've had have made us stronger, and stronger in the sense not only for ourselves, but that we can help others because we've been there, right? And now you can relate and you can resonate with somebody who comes to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you talk about a healing toolbox that helped you work through your traumas. How did you discover those?
The toolbox or the traumas?
Well, you went through the traumas, so you know that. But it was, you mentioned that the healing toolbox that you created,
right,
helped you through those traumas, right?
Right. So I was just trying to be a little comical there.
Oh, okay. That's good. We need a laugh sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. That's my sense of humor has saved my sanity for most of my life. But so the toolbox came into play when I had kind of gone into, my self-discovery and looked back on my life about, the challenges I had faced and what had worked for me. And as well as like other people that I had connected to. The universe has a way of connecting you, even if you're, living in isolation or whatever. The right people will come into your life just out of the blue. So other people shared their modalities or their wisdom with me, so I put those in my toolbox. So that's what I'm referring to. If that's clear.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly clear, because I can resonate with that as well. So the different things that I was going through, I'm going to use the word tools as well, came in my life so that I would learn this, and that created, I guess I could use the word awakening, but that tool then allowed me to see clearly something that I needed to do or something that I had gone through. So that again made me stronger, right? And then taking that and then learning, oh, here's another tool. So if we're going through these challenges, it's important to pay attention to what different gifts, I guess, we're receiving, different tools that we're receiving from just connecting with other people or even in conversations. So, and I just want to touch on a point here. Every soul that you connect with, you say is a teacher or a gift. So even the difficult ones, right? And that's where we can learn our own gifts and talents and create those tools for ourselves.
Yeah, and I got to the point where I could literally go to the people who I've had conflict with, like some of my childhood bullies. I had, either come across them, just come across them, or I had searched them out. And I actually, said to them, do you remember me? Or, and they would say, oh yeah, or whatever. And I say, and I would express my memory, right? And I would say to them, like, I just wanted to express my gratitude because that experience made me stronger. And, I just felt that I needed to offer my gratitude and appreciation for that experience. And then it like disperses the negativity. And, I've become friends with some of those people, and my past relationships, after the heated trauma is dealt with, I was able to forgive, not necessarily forget, but just forgive and not be triggered each time that the memory comes up. That's like healing. Yeah. That's a great space to be in. It brings you more peace in your life.
Going through those experiences, like you said, when you meet somebody and it was a negative experience, most people tend to hang on to that negativity and keep it inside. And then that festers like a cancer inside because it just gets worse and worse. And then there's no way that then it's not easier. I shouldn't say no way. Then it's not as easy to give that forgiveness. And like you said, you don't forget, but it's the forgiveness that releases that negativity, and then you can move forward, whether they want to or not. But now that you've forgiven, you're not carrying that burden anymore. That's an important lesson to learn.
And I mean, trust me, I used to be the one person, or not one person, but one of those people who would tell the stories, like my life story, to anybody and everybody that would listen.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I even had people say, okay, like change the record, it's getting old kind of thing, right? So when I went through the healing process, I recognized that. And once I've healed all those wounds, I don't even think about that stuff anymore. Like I've learned to live in the now, in the presence, and just, you know, yeah.
So what you're talking there is like the poor me, being the victim, right? And that does not serve you at all, or anybody else around you. So it's important to recognize that and to let that go. And forgiveness is huge, and gratitude.
And now, like, instead of being like in the victim role, I call myself a survivor.
Yeah.
You know,
big difference between victim and being a survivor. I know when we spoke before, we talked about being empaths, and that you believe that empaths are here to trigger awakening in others.
Oh yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that one?
Well, from as far back as I can remember, I just had to show up. I didn't have to say a word, because actually I didn't start talking until I was 3.5 years of age.
Oh, wow.
So, and yeah, so, but basically all I remember my childhood is I would just show up. I was very shy. But if I, you know, tried to engage with anybody, just, you know, by being present, some people would like, go away. You know what I mean? Or you're ugly, go away, I don't want to play with you, you're weird. Oh. Right. So yeah, like that's, and I didn't know what it was, right? Because I was like, I'm not doing anything, right? But now I've learned from mentors and stuff like that, that, you know, energy, right? And as I say, like I came in with my energy like expanded, right? So even though I didn't know that, so, you know, and sometimes when people aren't expanded and they're in that contracted, and your energy comes in and it's like, oh, kind of thing, right? It scares some people. So yeah.
Yeah, because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And sometimes they think, you know, when we talk about that energy or vibration or something, it's something woo-woo. Well, it isn't. It's something that we all experience on this planet, because everything vibrates, and it depends on how sensitive we are to those vibrations, right? Like same with me. I can walk into a room, and if there's some negative feelings going on there, I feel it, and then I just tend to hold back and not be around. I experienced Access Consciousness bars with you, and oh my gosh, that was so amazing. Can you share your personal experience from moving from deep despair to being renewed after receiving the bars?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first time I received the Access Conscious bars was before COVID. So it happened for me in September of 2016, because Access Conscious bars practitioners offer free sessions for people on National Suicide Awareness Day. And although I was not suicidal, I was at a very low point in my life. And so I reached out through the Facebook ad and was connected to to the person I met for Access Conscious bars here in Niagara. And she, you know, she came pick me up because I didn't have a car, and took me back to her home. And I got on the table and I was just like, okay, right? Had no expectations whatsoever. and she ran my bars. That's what it's called, running bars. And I got up off that table and I was like, okay, how do I do this? Like, how can I do this? Right? Like, I just like night and day. And so I was certified as a practitioner the following month in October. And I've been running bars, since then, for friends and family and whoever asked me to. So COVID put a, squash on that. But then it came back into play, bars, because I had, as I say, I had the severe germophobia, right? So I couldn't let anyone touch me. And I mean, I was a person, going out giving free hugs for 4 years. I had hugged over 10,000 people with you never got sick, never got nothing negative happened. And so I was beating myself up, kind of going, come on, right? And so I reached out to my teacher and I said, like, I'm struggling. Like, I don't know what to do. And she said, come for bar session. Right. So I went to her home again. And I mean, I'd always felt safe within her home. I always felt safe with her. And she just allowed me to release whatever I had to release. And again, I got off that table and I wasn't 100% cured of germophobia, but it was the doorway for me to open myself up to other people. And I finally got assistance from actually a recreational therapist, who actually got me out into the local mall. And from the time I walked into the mall and didn't see all the, didn't see what I had seen on or heard of, like signs on the floor or people, saying, get out of my way or don't do this. That's what scared me the most, was the judgment, because, like, show up and get judged. And I was like, oh, this is back to normal, whatever normal is, right? But yeah, so, as I say, I've been living my life as in my own lifestyle. Like, I'm not really outgoing, I'm not out there shopping and, restauranting and all that, but it gave me back my choice. And that's really what Access Conscious Bars is. Is it about, listening to your body and working with your body and allowing your body to choose what's right for it.
Yeah. So would you say before this, you were facing an identity crisis?
Like, before the actual, my first session, probably. Yeah. Like, I felt alone. I just didn't know who I was or where I fit in or what I was here for. And because I was living in isolation by choice, even before COVID, and the social anxiety, right?
Yeah, COVID was really influential on that for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I'm even talking about, like, back in 2016. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just like, what's the point? Like, why am I here? Do you know what I mean? Like, I lost my sense of purpose. And so that was in 2016. And then, as I say, like, then with COVID, then losing my mom in 2021, like, yeah, like, you and my kids were older, so it's kind of like, okay, I'm not a daughter anymore because both my parents are gone. I'm not, a spouse anymore. My kids don't need me, right? I want to do this for people. I have a toolbox, but I'm afraid. Like, I'm afraid of people for the first time, like, it's kind of hard to explain. Social anxiety is different than, fear of a germophobic thing, right? But yeah, so I don't know how to explain it any more than, like, before COVID, I was feeling more so about going out and being social. but then COVID took that away from me and made it worse, kind of thing. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're saying, about not being a daughter anymore, not, losing your identity pretty much. And that's a question I think a lot of people go through, but you were going through it at an extreme level. There was the empty nest, there was losing your parents, the COVID threat, all of that. So when when women are asking now, especially, 40 and over, some younger, they go through these different transitions in life, and now what? And you were just asking that. Now, what's there for you, right? So would you say that, or let me ask it this way. What was the turning point that shaped you into who you are today?
Turning point, I think that I think it's a general understanding that the universe will isolate you when you have to really learn who you are. And when you get to the point of when you try to work on something and it's not going anywhere and you get frustrated, and then you try, when you feel scattered, let's say, or pulled
is a good one. Yes.
Yeah. Pulled in so many directions. That's what my life has always been from the time, my parents were travelers, or I remember I've been on so many trips with my parents. My parents took me to England several times because my dad was originally from England. He immigrated here when he was 19 years old by himself on a boat. But we always went traveled back to all over England, and then we went to I've been to Stonehenge twice.
Oh, nice.
That's
on my bucket list.
Okay. No, once at 5 years old, and we were actually able to sit on the stones, right? And then again at 13, and I tell you, the energy, I just have to think about it and I can feel it.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow.
So we get caught up in life from a young age, right? And we're trying to find ourselves outside of ourselves, most people. And then you get to a point where you're just feeling fragmented or scattered. And then that's when the universe kind of starts to put obstacles or roads, stops, or whatever the word in, and you basically get kind of forced into coming home to yourself and really asking the questions why am I here? What am I meant to do? What am I meant to learn from this?
Your purpose, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so true, because what you're going through and what you're saying, when the universe is trying to say something to you or direct you in a certain way, and you're not really paying attention, you're going to get more of it. And sometimes it comes out as some pretty big challenges. So if you can be in tune to what those little nudges are and figure it out. I want to quote something, because we're talking about purpose and passion here, actually, because this is part of what my podcast is all about. But I came across this and it really made sense, and I want to share this. Passion is personal. Purpose is universal. Passion lights you up and makes you feel alive. Purpose keeps you going, using your gifts to serve the world. Passion is the spark. Purpose is the fire that keeps burning even when the going gets tough. And I never really associated the passion and the purpose like that. But that's when the universe is trying to say to you, here's your purpose, light that little spark, get that passion going. And what you're doing and what I do with the Riva experience, we help women to recognize their passion, which can then direct them in the right way for their purpose. And the Access Conscious bars, oh my goodness, the experience I had, it was so calming. The visions that I saw, wow. And confirmation, knowing that I was going in the right track. So that was a turning point, I'm sure, for you, just discovering that, right?
Oh, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like just, because you're basically sitting in silence, right? Like
And that's hard to do for some people, isn't it?
well,
A
no,
lot of people.
my friends that really know you my friends that really know me, including yourself,
Mhm.
when I said to you, okay, I'm going to be completely silent through this like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And I, laughed and I said, yes, I am going to be quiet. Right. And I was,
Yeah.
right. And, but it's just such a peaceful space to be in, and it's like 32 points on your head that are touched with light fingertip touch.
Yeah.
And it's, there's the bodies, like they do what they need to do. Like you release all your old programming and beliefs and stuff like that. And whatever you're releasing, I'm releasing at the same time. So it's amazing that, just this simple process can do so much and change people.
Double healing, isn't it? One for you, one for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember thinking, and I mentioned that after the session was done, how is she sitting in one position for so long? Her fingers, her back. I'm thinking, how's she doing all this? But like you said, it's a healing process for you as well. So, and it really didn't even seem like 45 minutes. It was very enlightening. In the questions that I had sent you, they're asking about what a message or a mantra, an insight you'd love for your listeners to walk away with. You have a quote here from your father, which I thought was really inspiring. And it was a core mantra from him: patience, persistence, perseverance pays off. So he said that to you over the years as you were growing up. And were you able to use that mantra to help you?
Absolutely. Like my dad, he said it whenever I came home from just being discouraged from something, he would say that to me. He'd say, Lesley, he said, patience, persistence, perseverance pays off.
And it's so true because, well, especially now in this, I don't remember actually when I was growing up, everything, you got to have it now, right? It seems like everybody wants this result now. They want this done now. They want to receive this now. Patience is huge, and waiting for that, and then being persistent in your patience and persistent in the direction you want to go. And then when you get the challenges, persevere, because this too shall pass, right?
And what I call that, like what you're referring to, is instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and yeah, like I've been told so many times that I have the patience of a saint, right? Because, I've been like, impatient sometimes, right? But the other thing I've come to realize is that everything's energy, right? So as I say, it's like, if you want something, you just have to do the same thing, instill it within yourself and ask for it, and that's one thing I wanted to mention as well is, so when I had my awakening 16 years ago, I honestly was, not feeling the greatest in life, feeling stuck, didn't know where I was. And I basically said a prayer to the universe, doing my dishes in the kitchen sink, right? And I just basically said, like, I need help. I don't know which way to go. Please guide me. And as I say, it literally next day, my world just shattered, right? So it's believing yourself, ask for what you want, believe you're worthy and deserving of receiving it, and then be open to receiving it, whatever way it comes to you.
Yeah.
You're that powerful.
Yeah. So when you ask, that it's even in the Bible, I believe, ask and you shall receive. But when you ask, that's where your patience comes in, because if you start to worry about it, then you're pulling back that energy and you're not going to get it, or it's going to take longer, or it's going to come in a different way that really wasn't what you were expecting.
Right.
So that's really important. And the other thing too about energy, back to that topic again, there's that saying, where your focus, I hope I get this right. Where your focus goes, so does your energy. So if you're focusing on negativity, you're just going to get more of that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I wanted, like you mentioned, like ask and receive. Mm-hmm. The other thing is where two or more gather.
Yes.
Right. And that's why it's like, especially after living in isolation for so many years, right, and trying to reintegrate and connect with people, like, trust me, I'm a people person around the right kind of people, right? Or if there's a connection. And it's amazing the connections that you have when, you know, the right people come into your life, whether it's just a regular conversation for those people who can still have conversations and communicate, you know, or even just doing the energy work. Like there's a whole thing happening there. And if you know, you're working together, like let's all work together instead of against one another.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what this world needs a little bit more of, working together and stop looking at the negative aspect of whatever somebody's done or said or who they are. I think COVID really fired that up, being so judgmental of each other.
Well, the one thing too with COVID is that our heart energies go out 6 feet, at least 6 feet between us. So remember the 6 foot rule, right? So if we're not within 6 feet of somebody, we're not feeling their energy, right? And our intuition, our natural intuition can be like disconnected, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned, speaking of the heart and the energy, you mentioned about how the heart is our true compass. Can you talk a little more about that?
Absolutely. So in my meditations that I was, you know, I do meditations every single day. And I've always known, I've always thought from my heart. I've always been told I wear my heart on my sleeve. So in my meditations, I've always concentrated on my heart. And instead of using my mind to ask questions, I now go into my heart. I drop down into my heart. And sometimes I put my hand on my heart and I ask questions, because that's what life is all about. Knowing yourself and asking questions through your hearts, which is connected to everything. And that's where your answers will come through and you'll feel it.
So somebody who's listening to this about going down into your heart, can you maybe clarify that a little bit more for somebody who's maybe just discovering all of this?
Okay. Okay. So the easiest way to explain it is when you're thinking in your head. Okay. So you know, your head's here, obviously, right? So you're thinking in your head. So literally you can just take your hand here and you can just bring your awareness down into your heart and touch your heart, right? And as I say, just put your hand on your heart or both hands on your heart and just feel into that space. And it should bring you like such peace. Instead of the busyness up here and the worry, you bring yourself down into your heart.
So if you're looking for a decision, you can tune in to your heart. And if your heart is heavy, then the answer is no. And if your heart feels light, then the answer is yes. So it's kind of an intuitive experience, correct?
Correct. Yes. Like everybody knows how a heavy heart feels, like sadness, grief, despair. And then everybody knows what joy feels like and excitement, right? So as long as somebody knows what those two feelings are, just best described as heavy-hearted or lighthearted, then
And those
yeah,
are easy enough to detect.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Trust yourself, follow your heart, and stay grounded in self-worth. That would be a pretty good mantra to leave with the audience. Just want to let the audience know that when I look at Lesley's certifications and tools, holy moly, certified trainer, Mike Dooley's Infinite Possibility Workshop, certified life purpose and gift discovery, Alfred Diaz method, certified grief coach, certified CBT practitioner, certified psychic and intuitive, offering readings and virtually or in person, super patch independent associate. And actually, Lesley had given me one of these pain patches, and I've been having a lot of headaches and back pain because of issues with my spine. I wore that patch for 24 hours and I had a really good day. So that was very interesting. And you're a passionate communicator, spiritual advocate, and guide. Wow, what a lineup that is for you, Lesley. So is there anything else that you would like to add or share or promote?
Just basically, I'm here. I'm ready to serve. As I say, like, all I need is peoples.
So just to elaborate on the Access Conscious bars, that has to be in person. So
Yeah.
you'd have to be in the area. Now, if somebody was really interested in having an access, having their bars read, and they're somewhere
Bars
else.
run. Sorry, bars run.
Bars run. Okay.
Yeah, I don't read.
Sorry, did I say read? I meant to say run.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, this is a blooper we're not going to delete, so.
Okay, no problem.
So if somebody wanted to have their bars read, but they're not in the Niagara region.
Bars run.
Did I say it again?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, that part I might delete.
Get your bars run.
Okay. If somebody wants to get their bars run,
right,
how could they access somebody that can do that for them?
If they're not in the Niagara area, they can go to accessconsciousness.com.
Okay. And they're worldwide. So anybody in the North America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah. There's only about 23,000 people worldwide who have been trained so far. So.
Okay. And so locally, then you could also do corporate wellness days.
Yep, absolutely. We'll go to bars in business.
Excellent.
Well, not bars. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. We'll go to businesses and run bars.
Bars. There you go.
We're not drinking, people. You might feel the same effect after a bar session, but there's no alcohol involved.
Right. Oh goodness. And you have a wellness presence at trade shows and conventions too. Oh, and that reminds me, when we spoke earlier, talking about the difference between the access bars being holistic and not spiritual. Do I have that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's not, we're not doing any reading or anything like that. It's the body process. So we're just working with the brain and, releasing, like defragmenting your computer hard drive. We're doing that with your brain.
Excellent. Yeah. And it definitely feels like that. Very relaxing though. So for the audience, I will have Lesley's contact information somewhere in the podcast as the conversation is going. And I hope you reach out to her. So any last things you want to say, Lesley?
No, I'm just very grateful that you approached me about this opportunity, because I'm not very good at putting myself out there. But people that know me know that, if I feel comfortable within your energy, it's going to be fun.
You did amazing. You were excellent. So Lesley, thank you so much for sharing your powerful story, your light, and your journey with us today. From stepping into your role as a light warrior goddess, to offering healing through access bars and your beautiful spiritual toolbox, your energy is truly inspiring. To everyone listening, If something in today's episode touched your heart or opened a new perspective for you, please take a moment to like, share, or leave a review. It may seem simple, but it helps us spread this kind of light-filled message to more people who are looking for guidance, healing, or even just a reminder that they're not alone. It also helps boost the podcast and supports me as I step out of my comfort zone to be here with you. So thank you for being a part of this journey with me. And if you're feeling the nudge to go deeper, I invite you to join me for my free 5-day Confidence Reboot Challenge. It's a soul-nourishing experience to help you reconnect to your spirit and purpose. Or if you're ready to truly rise into the next chapter of your life, consider joining me for Riva Rising. Discover the power of your purpose. It's an 8-week transformative course designed to help you reflect, explore, visualize, and align with your soul's calling. I also offer speaking sessions, corporate wellness or lunch and learn events, and one-on-one coaching for those navigating change, retirement, or reinvention. And to learn more or connect with me personally, visit the Riva Experience or message me directly. And I'd love to hear your story and see how we can walk part of this journey together. So until next time, remember, your light matters. Keep looking for that sparkle in your day. Keep showing up, keep being curious, and keep listening to your heart. It knows the way. Thank you.